Welcome back, Benchwarmers. We're down to 4 teams left in the NBA playoffs, which means it's almost time to crown a new champion for the 7th straight season.
Not only are we crowning a new champion this year, but we have multiple teams looking to win their first title in franchise history.
We also have a historic franchise looking to win their first title for the first time in over 50 years.
Lots of storylines going into the conference finals, so let's get into it. I'm Corey, yes sirs.
I'm Brendan, Buck Boston, and this is RV from the Bench. Before we get started, if you're not already, don't forget, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss any one of the new episodes.
Also, if you could please do us the favor, if you like what you see here, please don't forget to smash that like button.
Smash it. Come on, it's free. It's free for you. It's free for us. Helps out the channel a lot more than you probably think.
Hell yeah.
Well, Corey, it's time.
Woo. We made it. We got to the conference.
Well, we didn't make it.
Well,
we didn't make anything, but
as you noted in your intro there, so did another team we didn't want to be there. It didn't make it. So it's all good. It happens.
Exactly. It's very true. For the first time, I'm relieved. It feels good. I don't appreciate injuries. I don't root for injuries. So get better, Jason Tatum. But I am relieved that, because honestly, I think they were going to lose that series. It kind of was just kind of going that way. They have a chance. Game 7's at home in Boston. I get it. But they had a Game 7 again a couple of years ago, and that didn't go as planned. So I do kind of think that New York was going to run away with it, but happy to see that it's certain now.
Also, didn't help that we allow later after the series is over, find out that Jaylen Brown's been playing with a torn meniscus the whole playoffs. So Boston was, even if they were lucky enough to get past New York, they weren't going to go much further than that, especially after Tatum went down. So
yeah, because Indiana, now they didn't almost have him last year. They were kind of out of gas by the time, and then Celtics nasty. But I think it would have been different this year, at least.
Oh yeah, Indy blew that game 1 last year, and then they just fell apart after that. So but anyways, we're here to talk about this year's conference finals.
That's right. True. Why do we? So back in 2022, remember that one game? No. All right. So, I mean, I've been enjoying the playoffs so far. It had been pretty decent. A lot of deep series for some good teams. The Knicks one. I'm sorry, the Knicks one. Well, that one was decent. I meant the Nuggets and the Thunder. That was a good one. So there's been some decent series, but we're going to talk about conference finals today. Let's start in the East. Today is Wednesday, so Game 1 has already happened in the West. Game 1 in the East, I think, literally probably just finished. So, yep. Corey, kind of give me a little bit of background on where you're at for this Eastern Conference final.
Yeah, so just thinking back to how these teams got to this point. Like, we're looking at the Knicks. They beat the Pistons in the first round in 6 games, which was a tougher series, I think, than most people anticipated, considering it was a 3-6 matchup and Detroit hadn't been good for so long. But they made the Knicks work, which in the long run is, I think, good for the Knicks now coming down the line. And then they also beat the Celtics, as you mentioned, in 6 games because they just fell apart, essentially, is all what happened. I mean, Game 6, it was over at the end of the second quarter.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
It was over. So
Jaylen Brown fouled out in the third quarter.
Exactly. So just looking at the Knicks and as a whole, they play 8 guys. Thibodeau plays them all a lot of minutes, as he does throughout the whole season. So I guess at this point, it's not weird to have them playing heavy minutes. That's just what they do. Brunson at this point, it's a matter of if he can stay healthy or not. That's really what's going to come down to for the Knicks to have a chance in the series. Like, if Brunson is healthy and can play and do his thing and draw 8,000 free throw attempts, which is what they do this day, then the Knicks are going to be fine and they're probably going to have a chance to win. If he does not stay healthy and can't do his thing, then that's where the Pacers, I think, have an opportunity to maybe surprise a lot of people, even though, if you think about it, this is the Pacers' 2nd straight Eastern Conference final appearance. So maybe it's not that weird that they're here.
Yeah, and to your point about staying healthy, the Pacers are going to need Halliburton to stay healthy. Similar to what you're talking about with Brunson. I understand, there's not necessarily a hang-up with Halliburton right now, and there's a lot deeper of a team. But he's basically the engine that makes that thing go. Being, voted the most underrated or overrated player, I apologize, in the NBA. Rachel Nichols actually had a quick breakdown of that. Not a lot of people in the NBA actually even voted for that. There's only 90 players that actually voted out of all the people that. And the amount of percentage that said he was overrated, I think equated to 14 people.
Yeah, it's not that many. It's not like it was half the league or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but when it came out, it made it seem like LeBron, Luka, everybody just thinks Tyrese Halliburton sucks. I'm just like, wow, this is pretty crazy.
You also have to think, why did he even get that many votes in the first place? But you got to think it's partially because he was on the Olympic roster and a lot of people probably didn't think that he belonged there. So that's probably some of those players just kind of angry at him for taking a spot that they thought maybe they deserved on the USA roster.
Oh, it was probably Jason Tatum that voted for that. No, but back to this. I do think that it's going to be a pretty close series. I think these two teams are closer, not necessarily in style, but in like ceiling and ability than it is in the West. We'll get to the West obviously in a second, but I just think the Thunder are kind of it's a lot bigger gap in my
Oh
opinion.
yeah.
So, but the Pacers, to your point, like I said, we're just here. New York is back for the first time in what seems like forever, but this is a good thing for basketball. It was close to having Oklahoma City, Indiana, Minnesota, I guess Boston, but it was getting really bound to where are the big markets. So New York pulling it out. And honestly, part of me is kind of rooting for him. I don't know what it is about the Jalen Brunson thing I like. I've never been a Cat fan per se, but
I'm with you
I don't know.
there.
This Villanova connection is cool. Josh Hart is kind of cool. So yeah, I don't
No,
know. Nick's looking good.
I'm with you, and it's weird too because you look at the Pacers; they're just a much deeper team, and as you said, Halliburton is the key to them as well. If he's healthy and
Yeah.
can run that team up and down the court, then they're going to have a chance. I mean, even tonight they lost by what I think 5 or 6 points. It wasn't like they got beat bad or
No,
never
it
had
was
a chance in this game. They
back
were
and forth the whole time.
absolutely so. And you look at Indy; they've had a much easier route to get here. They beat the Bucks in 5 in the first round with no Dame for the
No
first game or
Dame.
two, and
And
then
honestly,
they
no team. That was just Giannis. They beat Giannis in the first round.
yes, absolutely. Then they go play the Cavs, who were the number one team in the East, but they beat them in that first game, and then injuries got to them, and they just never were able to couple. So they've only played 5 games in each round, but they haven't really been tested the same way that the Knicks are. So that's the only reason I went back and forth on picking. Like when we did the intro, my intro was yes sirs because of the Pacers shirts, and I'm like I
Okay.
was
So you're
rooting for
obviously
them,
going for the Surge, right? Yeah.
but no, I'm picking the Knicks because I don't know. I literally, it's like 51-49 for me, Knicks. I like literally went back and forth in filling out this doc. I think I changed it at least 3 times before I
Okay.
finally
Well,
was like,
save
okay,
the number of games for me then.
okay, all right. So, but
Okay.
I am officially going the opposite of my intro. I'm going with the Knicks.
All right. Well, that works out. I think here's like the main point that I've got for this is I have a big problem with how shallow the bench is for Tom. I'm not Thibodeau. I'm not saying shallow as in literal talent. I think there's some good players there, but as far as what he trusts in big moments, it goes about 7 and 8 is pushing him about 7 or 8 deep. The problem is not even really the idea of fatigue that's really plagued other Thibodeau teams previously, at least in my opinion. The problem is kind of what we saw tonight, what I've seen in previous series is foul trouble. Cat had his fourth foul early in the third and had to sit. Brunson had his fourth and then fifth foul early in the fourth and had to sit.
Yeah,
Brunson fouled out last series. I know because I bet on him to go over 30. He had 22 with 7.5 minutes left and decided to collect his sixth foul. The last leg of my parlay that did not hit. Maybe a new series coming. Check that out possibly. But yeah, so the thing that I'm actually most concerned about is foul trouble because they're an extremely aggressive team, especially on defense, but even on offense. And if Miles Turner's standing in the paint when Jalen Brunson gets over, I understand the discrepancy in size is this much, but the
yeah,
refs don't care. People will fall and the refs will call it. So the one thing I think they really got to maintain is staying out of foul trouble, actually.
yeah. I mean, again, because they have no depth as far as who he trusts, that makes a lot of sense. If they can't keep those guys on the court, the 7 or 8 guys that he really wants out there, then they're going to be in trouble. And then especially at this point in time when you throw random guys in there that aren't part of the rotation, especially the third round of the playoffs, like everyone knows the 7 or 8 guys that are going to play in their
Yes.
roles. The rest of the guys know I'm just here in my suit, ready in case we get a blowout either way. But if
Mm-hmm.
somebody gets thrown in there randomly, it could go either way. One, they could be really good because there's no film or expectation of that player,
So you
or
don't know.
they
Yeah,
could be
true.
terrible because they're out of sync and out of rhythm. They haven't played in a month.
True.
So
Good
it's
point.
just it's very it's just not worth the shot at that point. You got to stay out of the foul trouble and be able to play the guys that you have or trust, I should say, to have out there.
Yeah, agree. Sorry, I'm being weird. This freaking there it is. Jeez, stupid camera. Yeah, no, I agree with you, and that's the thing. To me, it comes down to that. Obviously, it's a lot. There's a lot more in basketball than is the team in foul trouble. But like one of the big X factors is ensuring that the Knicks top seven can play the entire game.
Yeah,
If the Pacers can get them in foul trouble, because it's not even just the idea of fouled out, right? If Brunson has 3 fouls early in the second, that's a chunk of time where Brunson's not on the court. That's where
exactly.
runs can be made. So it has nothing even to do with them not playing again. It could just be chunks of time where you're starting to take those leaps. Halliburton was quoted tonight. Take advantage, go crazy during the Brunsonless minutes. Brunson, we go crazy. I don't care if it's 4 minutes, we go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So they are aware of how important Jalen Brunson is. and he's been getting in foul trouble lately. So that's probably the only thing I'm nervous about. Before we get to the picks, though, we have to talk about TNT, right?
Yeah, so there is a little connection there. Good call. I totally forgot about this. So this is obviously TNT's last year with the NBA contract. So this is their last series because the NBA finals are always on ESPN or ABC through ESPN, whatever they want
By the way, screw the
to.
NBA for that. Honestly, they matched the number, so it's insane that they didn't just say okay. But go ahead.
So TNT will be broadcasting the Eastern Conference Finals. It'll be play-by-play and color guy for every game, obviously. And Reggie Miller, former Pacer, who happens to be the color guy for TNT, will be doing the series, which is fantastic because he's part of this whole rivalry in the late '90s, early 2000s, where he did the choke sign at Spike Lee. He scored, I think it was 8 points in 9 seconds or whatever to win that game out of nowhere. They've played in 2 conference finals previously back in the day, 94, I believe, and 2000, right? Wasn't that? Yeah, because the Lakers beat the Pacers in 2000. So there are some paths here. And then last year doing in the second round has kind of reignited that rivalry. So I'm expecting it to really, it didn't so much today. Game 1 was pretty calm, but again,
Yeah.
it's early. So the more we play and the more physical this game the series becomes, I think the more the rivalry will start to show its true colors, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too. It sucks that the rivalry hasn't continued per se, like it hasn't sustained since Reggie was there. Both teams have had some up and downs.
Yeah.
Mostly the Knicks have been down because honestly, even the Pacers got back with Paul George and that team.
Yep.
They
True.
were pretty good. They were pretty good with in the
Danny Granger, Roy Hibbert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had
Exactly.
I think Teague back in the day when he was a young
Yep.
kid.
Yep. So they the big dude, Roy Hibbert.
Yeah.
Yes. That dude
David
was
West was there for a couple years on the back end of it. They
Dude,
had a really Frank
they were
Vogel
good, bro.
that team. That was solid.
True. They were really good. Oh, I just thought about that. Frank Vogel got beat by LeBron, and they got to win with LeBron. That's
Hell
true.
yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so back to the TNT thing. I'm super excited. And by the way, real quick, I did Google it. It was 8 points in 9 seconds. I don't know if you said 9 points in 8 seconds or 8 points in 9 seconds, whichever one, but it was 8 in 9. So you could have been right. I just don't remember what you said. I just wanted to double check. But I'm super excited for it. I'm super sad about the TNT stuff. Like I said, I think it's lame of the NBA. I understand it initially when they just weren't going to either offer anywhere near. It's all about money, so I get the principle of that. But once they match the money of every other person that said they were going to do it, then you just should give it to them based on goodwill, because not only have they've been involved in your sport, but they've helped grow your sport for the past 20 plus years, because people love watching inside the NBA. There's times where I wouldn't watch the game and then just turn on TNT to watch the hour afterwards to just see stuff. I don't even care who played. I don't even care. So I think that's kind of lame, but props. I mean, I know a lot of things are. I know they're doing a lot trying to ensure that they're having. What am I trying to say? Like not events,
send off.
They're celebrating that this is send off. Thank you. That's a great one. I know they're looking to celebrate what they've accomplished and stuff like that, but it's still kind of sad to see. So going to be watching pretty much every game of this Eastern Conference Finals for that. Well, and the good games.
That'll definitely be a big draw. But again, we enjoy hopefully 7 games of it. We'll see how many we get. We got 1 so far, but hopefully 6 more.
Okay, so now that we're here, tell me how many. Tell me who and how many.
Again, I went back and forth, but I told you I'm picking the Knicks. But I went back and forth so option to the point of like, does anybody win on the road? I think it's going to be home team wins all the way through, Knicks in 7.
Okay. I do also. I'm picking the Knicks. I'm picking them in 7 as well. I think Indiana steals 2 or 5. And New York wins 1 in Indiana as well, because New York is really good on the road, and sometimes they choke at home. So I think there might be a flip flop there. But besides, I think 1 and 1. Like I don't think it's 2 when Indiana road wins or 2. So to your point, I think it's gonna be fairly close. Knicks in 7.
All right, but remember the Knicks lost in 7 last year to Indiana, so.
True.
Indiana's not afraid of the Garden in Game 7 if it comes to that.
No, true. They also didn't have Cat last year. They also didn't have Mikal Bridges taking Halliburton on.
That's a good point.
So, little things. All right, moving on to the West. The West Coast, best coast. The best team in the West Coast is not playing, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We have good team. By best, I mean my favorite. Obviously, literally the best team in the league is playing still, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yeah. But they put a whooping on the Timberwolves last night. Won by they won the second half by 30, 70-40. Yeah. Not great. Great start, poor finish. Talk about this one, bro.
Well, the biggest thing is look. Okay, let's start with how they got here. So the Thunder sweep the Grizzlies in 4. Ja Morant unhealthy. The Grizzlies for no reason.
Yeah.
Then the Thunder get the Nuggets in 7 at home and take care of business, but it was a hell of a
Good
battle.
test.
Exactly. I was going to say, but a good thing for the Thunder because all year they basically beat everybody by 15, 20 points and never really got tested. So I think the Nuggets having that DNA, championship DNA from a couple years ago and really testing them is ultimately going to be the best thing for the Thunder. And then you look at the Wolves. Okay, 4-1
I
against.
think I saw real quick. I
Okay,
think I saw a stat. This goes to your point about the Thunder. I literally think I saw a stat. I don't remember it exactly. Something along the lines of the 2024-25 and Oklahoma City Thunder have the fewest amount of like close games or clutch games in NBA history. So they're most of the time when they win, they are blowing teams out.
yeah, which come playoff time, you don't typically do that all the way through. You might have a game or two like they did yesterday, but you're not expecting that the entire run. So,
Right.
but then we look at the Wolves 4-1 against the Lakers, as we know. We've talked about it. The Lakers had no chance to slow them down in the paint, couldn't get anything to score in the paint because of Rudy Gobert. So 5 games. Then they go and take care of the Warriors in 5 because once Steph got hurt, we knew that series was over. So they
Yeah.
haven't been tested, but a lot of these guys, besides Randall and DiVincenzo, are the same squad that was on the team last year when they went to the conference finals. So there's not going to be any, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know the moment. And I don't know if this has really a huge effect on or not, but remember last year, Chris Finch, the coach, had his knee
Yes.
operated on. He couldn't really coach. That's
Yes.
not the case this year. I think that's going to
True.
be a difference for them. Not that he wasn't coaching because he was still there, but it's just different from him sitting behind the bench and not being able to be in the huddles and really like be animated, I think, like he typically would be. So we're looking at just how they got here, and it looks like they both basically got here very easily, except for the Thunder against the Nuggets, just a little bit harder. But it's all about SGA, man. Like we found out today, he's the MVP
MVP.
this year. So it all comes down to SGA. I don't remember the number, or I have to look if was Jokic probably the first person to do like MVP in the regular season and win a title in the same year, because I know that doesn't happen very often. So it's probably happened.
No.
Yeah.
No. There's 4 or 5 people. LeBron has done it twice.
Okay.
He did it both in Miami.
That makes sense.
I think Steph Curry did it.
Yeah.
And then maybe I'm sure Jordan probably
I've done it. Yeah.
did it. Yeah. And I think there was a Spur on there. Maybe it was Kawhi or Duncan or something.
Had to
I
have
don't
been
know.
Duncan probably. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it's few, very few and far between. To your point, it's super rare. I mean, we've had the NBA for how many years? Like I said, literally, and 2 of them are LeBron, so technically like 4.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah. So again, it doesn't happen often, but with SGA being the MVP this year, it's going to come down to him. And as everyone I saw last night on ESPN, as Doris Burke liked to say, he's a free throw merchant. I don't know. That's the whole thing going around right now. But it's
Yeah.
true. There's a couple of highlights last night where nobody touches him, or they, it's a pinky and he just flails like he got in a car accident. So it is a little frustrating to watch. But if it comes down to Knicks and Thunder in the final, like we're going to get a lot of that between SGA and Brunson. So I guess it doesn't really matter at that point.
Agree. And honestly, as a Lakers fan, I'll be the first one to say that
yeah.
Luka Doncic is quite similar. The difference is Luka Doncic is 6'8" and like 250 pounds. So when he actually does get fouled, you don't see it. So in my opinion, he has to sell it a little bit more. And I thought this when he was on the Mavericks, just so you know, it's not like a hometown thought. The thing I don't like is to your point with the SGA stuff. There was a lot of replays that I saw where he was barely touched. Like, I don't care if you call fouls on the person, but actually have it be a foul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't, like, if he is at the line, and that's the other thing about Brunson. Brunson goes to the rack and he's going straight up at the rim. He's right here trying to get it. He's not like by the, what are those things called on the key, the side of the key where you stand for free throws? He's not like, I forgot what they're called. The block, basically. He's not like on the side of the block, like jumping away, kicking a foot, throwing the ball, up foul, up foul, up foul. So again, fouls are part of the game. I'm not saying that he's doing so much more than anybody else, but if he's just actually call it when he's actually fouled. That's all I'm asking. Don't just call it every time he touches the ball and misses.
Yeah, or if just because he misses or flops and makes it look like it was worse than it was. Like, I know it's hard to do. I'm not saying it's an easy job, obviously.
100%.
I get it, but there's got to be going into the game knowing, like, okay, he's known to do this. Maybe we should be a little more. It's got to be super obvious for us to call it, or at least set the tone early. Like, we're not going to fall for your flop and shit, so stop doing it. And maybe throughout the night, it doesn't become as big of an issue. But again, it's part of the game, so it is what it is. But
I think
this series. No, go ahead.
No, last point on that before we move on, because I'm tired of talking about fouls too. The only thing that I'll say about that is that, like, I think crap. Now I forgot. Oh, most of the time, this playoffs, the refs have actually been super quiet with the whistle. It
Mhm.
just seems like whenever he touches the ball, they're ready to blow it. It's like regular season basketball for Shea, playoff basketball for everybody else.
Yeah.
Again, maybe I'm tripping. I'm not trying to be a hater. Actually, a Shea fan. Happy he left the Clippers.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, but Shea fan. Loved his speech this afternoon. Called shouting out his wife. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I just play it how you play everybody else. That's all.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, this is to me is a 60-win team, best in all of the NBA, taking on the 6th seed. Granted, not a normal 6th seed; they're a 49-win team still. But it's the point. The point is this, right? They're stacked. But my opinion is, unfortunately, I don't think they have a lot of flair to them besides Shea and his, there's been a lot of replays I've seen of him doing almost the exact moves of Kobe Bryant. It's just bringing back some memories and stuff.
Yeah,
So
true.
again, he's very skilled, and he's the one with all the pizzazz. But I do think they're all stacked, and because they're so young, they're all in their physical prime. With Alex Caruso being the oldest player on the team at like 30 or 31. So yeah, he's literally the oldest player on the team. They call him old man.
Dude, you know what's funny too? If you look at it, I know it sucks for us as Laker fans, but there's a former Laker on each of these 4 teams that are left, and they're all like fan favorite guys, like Josh Hart, Thomas Bryant, Alex
Julius
Caruso,
Randle.
and Julius Randle. All guys that never left on like, oh, we hate that guy or we traded because we didn't like. Josh Hart got traded because we got AD. Caruso, we don't want to talk about that one. Randle left because he didn't want to play when LeBron was coming in, and he decided to go to New Orleans on his own. So like, it all worked out in the long run, but yeah, it is kind of weird, like kind of seeing all these little Lakers that were developed with them. They're all paying off and actually having a shot at maybe a finals appearance. Unfortunately, not in purple and gold, but whatever.
True. Okay, well, let's wrap this one up then, because I want to ask you, after we have who you've got winning the West, I want to ask you, which Laker would you prefer to win a title? Ooh. So let's wrap up the West and then think about that one. I don't really know how else to explain this besides the fact that they're stacked, bro. I think OKC should fare well as long as SGA is doing his thing. I don't really like Gobert, so that's kind of a thing. But other than that, I kind of actually really like the Timberwolves. I'm a fan of a huge Ant fan. You mentioned Julius Randle as a former Laker. I like that guy. He's like a super family-oriented guy, kind of a quiet guy in the NBA. Doesn't really, do all this crazy stuff. He ain't acting a fool or anything. But honestly, they just need SGA to get to the line, feed, and create for others. Turnovers is their bread and butter. So as long as Minnesota takes care of the ball, they'll have a chance.
Yeah.
I'm going Thunder. I'm actually rooting for the Timberwolves.
You did the opposite of me in the East. You did all that talking about the Wolves, and you're like, but I'm picking the other team.
Pretty much, yes. I'm rooting for the. See, I have my rooting teams, and I have my who I think's going to win teams. Yeah, I do think the Thunder close this one out, and I think they take it in 6. There's just a lot of talent on this team. A lot of talent.
Yeah. Okay. I have to say that is one thing I'm glad about this matchup is they're both teams that play 8 or 9 guys. Like it's both deep teams. Because if Denver would have got here, they would have had nothing left in the tank, and Oklahoma City would have walked all over them.
But Minnesota.
Yeah. Well, no. I'm saying Minnesota would have ran them up and down the court, and they would have had nothing left to keep up with them, especially because they beat them last year too. So there would have been that. Yeah, we've been here,
and before. They were tired.
Yes, exactly. So I see that, but I just for some reason I see Ant just. He sees it's wide open. There's no definitely this team's going to win it all. They're too stacked. Ant sees it. He can be it. I know he's playing hurt with the ankle injury. If he can stay healthy, do his thing, I see him winning the Western Conference, getting to a finals for the first time for the Timberwolves, and I have them in 7. So I have them winning Game 7 in Oklahoma City, kind of like they did last year in Game 7 in the second round in Denver, and trailing in the fourth quarter and still coming back to win. So nice. I've got Wolves in 7.
Okay, so you've got a Wolves-Knicks matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've got a Thunder-Knicks matchup, but I'm actually rooting for a Wolves-Knicks matchup. And there's plenty of reasons why. Mostly it's the personnel for the team. They literally just switch with each other. How crazy would it be to meet up?
Dude, for real, that would be like, how's that not the ultimate win-win trade? Like Cat,
literally,
Julius Randle, and DiVincenzo all get swapped out, and then we play each other in the finals the next year. Like, okay, I'd say we all win. I mean, we'll see.
Only one wins.
But, yeah, exactly. But both getting to the final after that trade happening, and then both getting significant pieces. Not one team getting us all-star and one team getting 5 guys just to match the salary.
To match the money, exactly.
Legitimately 3 if you include Dante, players being swapped around that have made a big difference in this year. And really, I think the Timberwolves probably should have had a better record if they would have gotten off to a good start. Because that first month and a half with trying to implement DiVincenzo and Randall in there, they struggled, and it was one of those like, dang, I don't think Minnesota's going to be good. But here they are with 49 wins and in the conference finals. So yeah, they might be 49 wins, but if you look at it from like January 1st on, they're definitely one of the top teams in that time period. So
Yeah.
nothing to think, something to think about.
Yeah, everyone thought Lakers in 5.
Yeah.
It just meant Lakers in 5 days to Cancun. Freaking Anthony Edwards taking a lap around Staples. Jeez.
Hey, you know what? It happens, man. It happens.
Yeah, you know what? We got to eat it, bro. It is what it is. We didn't have a center. So get us a center, Rob, and I think we'll be okay.
Yep. Okay, now,
all right.
Back to your question.
Yes.
Which of the 4 guys that we are former Lakers, and if we both, okay, so if you have Knicks and Thunder, you have down to 2 guys. So which of those 2 teams do you want to win so that a former Laker gets a ring?
My favorite former Laker of all of the 4 that are still here, I'll give it to you in order.
Okay.
Josh Hart, Alex Caruso.
Okay.
Julius Randle, and then Thomas. Only Thomas Bryant because he was like a side piece for a second. You know, technically a former Laker, and he was good. I'm not knocking him, but I just put him last on the tier. So in theory,
you know what he's famous for, though, right?
Which one? What? Yes,
Thomas Bryant's the one. Give me the ball, LeBron. Pass it down.
For LeBron.
I'm about to break the scoring record. Why don't you shut up and get out of my
right.
head?
That's right. Yes, I do remember that. Honestly, it's in the picture. He's like, "I'll make it." And you're like, "This is 30-something thousand, bro. Chill." Yeah. So, but if I had to pick one, I'm gonna say Josh Hart. I don't know why I like Josh Hart so much.
I mean, he's not a bad pick. I'm with you. I really like Josh Hart a lot, but for some reason, I go back to Caruso. Caruso's just, I don't know.
We did win a title with the guy, so
yeah.
I'm
but some about not drafted. At least Hart was drafted. Caruso wasn't. He came through the G League. He had to work his way. Everyone thought he was just some bald white guy who couldn't play, and here he is with a title and a chance to maybe make his second finals appearance with the Thunder. So.
True. One of my favorite things I think that I'm starting to like Josh Hart for is his when he's sitting next to Jalen Brunson in their after game conferences and stuff.
Yeah.
But they just have the funniest interactions. He's like on his phone looking at a tweet, and he's like, "Oh, I was looking for the tweet that you're tweeting." He's like, "Oh no, I was just ordering DoorDash." He's just like, "I was just getting food," and you could just see Jalen Brunson like, "This motherfucker, bro." Like,
and
oh my gosh,
friends since college, so it's like, dude, I know you way too well.
Exactly. So I don't know, something about Josh Hart, but Caruso is definitely my second, so I'm with you on that one. But yeah, I mean, it should be pretty good conference finals. Let's hope that they're close games, not only close games, but extended series as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as many games as we can get because we only got 2 rounds left.
Exactly. Well, let us know down in the comments below, who do you have winning each of these conference finals?
Also, hit us up on Twitter, Instagram at RVUFTB, and give us who you think is going to win those conference MVP awards. I know I got Ant winning the Magic Johnson Award for sure.
I also talked about how I think it's going to be Knicks Thunder. The other day, I was looking at a stat that said for the past, 6 or 7 seasons, besides one, which is the Warriors championship 2 years ago, every team that's won the championship has beat Jimmy Butler.
Oh, no.
So I put money on Ant to win the MVP as well. So we will see. That's who I've got. Let us know in the comments below who you've got. But appreciate everybody stopping by. Thank you as always for seeing things from RV from the bench. I'm Brendan.
I'm Corey. Like we always say, enjoy the sports until we talk again.
Peace.
This was a Sycamore 4th Studios production.